Hello, and welcome to another episode of Talking Positive with Randy and Alan. I'm Alan,
And I'm Randy.
and today our guest is Dr. Anthony Atkins from Detroit, Michigan. Welcome, Doctor.
Welcome. Glad to be here.
Thank you very much for joining us. Can you give us a little background about who you are and why you're
Who
here?
am I? Well, I'm from Detroit. I grew up on the west side on Cortland, between Dexter and Wildermere, what we call YBI country, Young Boys Incorporated country. And I always had this medical school in me, but we go through some things, and it was later on in life after some military experience and some other things, I ended up at the Ohio State College of Medicine. um, I finally got in at the age of 33, but there has been some trials and tribulations prior to that. And here I like to teach people how you just have to overcome the obstacles, and you have to trust the process. And no matter how long that process is, if you want to do something, it can happen. But you just got to stick with it.
You've always told the story to me about the I want to say like the prophetic nature of how you became a doctor with your Bazooka Joe. Could you just talk about that a
Oh,
little bit?
yes. And I have it in my wallet if you want me to show it, because it's been in my wallet for 46 years. So, a long time ago, obviously, I was about 10 years old. So, that's probably 1968. My mom went to a little fair. It could have been at Edgewater or the State Fair. And someone told my mother, she says, "Oh, you're going to have someone in your family be a doctor." And of course, my mother said, "Well, yes, my first cousin, JT, Elbert Nelson, he's a doctor. He just graduated from McGarry. You're pretty good." So she was like, "Oh, okay." But the lady said, "No, this person that's going to be a doctor is going to come from your loins." And so my mom was kind of like, "What?" And so as time went on, I'm playing with operation, bugs, frogs. She got mad at me when I cut the frog's head off on her table, things of that nature. And so there was interest in medicine, but not quite there. The foundation was just being developed. And then I went to Ferris State College, and I had this 1.68 GPA. So you want to get into med school with that. But as things started happening, I had this event occur in my room one morning, and I'm like, "What the heck's going on?" And I'm working in physical therapy, and I'm like, "Well, I want to be a physical therapist." The medical school thing, yeah. So I'm like, "Well, what just happened here?" So I go to the nursing home on Broad Street in Elmhurst. It's called Broad Street Medical. And I spoke to this old lady, and she says, this was March of 1979. I told her what happened. And she was like, "Oh, that's just because," so calm and like she knew something. "That's just because you're going to be a doctor and a preacher." And I looked at her like, "Not." Physical therapy. I like physical therapy. Next week, I have an appointment with Roberta Cotman to get into the School of Physical Therapy. That's what I wanted to do. And she looked at me like, "Boy, what did I say?" So I got this. "Well, you old. I'm massaging you good. You feeling good." March. That was March of 79. April of 79, I'm at Ward Avenue going to my little favorite lottery store, and I decided to play my 342 and 1212. Those are my favorite numbers. And on the stand there, the counter was Bazooka bubble gum. And I'm just randomly stirring my hand around, and my boy is like, "Dude, what are you doing?" And I said, "Man, what?" I snatched this bubble gum up. And I said, "Whatever this fortune says is what I'm going to do the rest of my life." Now we just laughing, we joking, we giggling, and they like, "Open it up, let's see." I said, "Okay." I have it here. But this has been in my wallet since April of 1979.
Wow.
Don't read the joke, just read what it says at the bottom.
You have a future in medicine.
So I'm like, well,
Wow.
so I kept that. And I'm like, well,
And laminated it.
yes. And I said, well, physical therapy. And I said, well, yes, physical therapy is a part of medicine. So what? I'm going to keep this in my wallet till I graduate, as a physical therapist. Then things change. Then there's pre-med. Then there's a switching of everything just changed. And then I went to Southern Illinois University. Then some other things changed. Then I kind of got into a situation with some friends of mine, and he was so smart, and I'm like, dude, you need to go to the Air Force. And he was like, well, you should go with me. I said, oh, dude, I'm not going to the Air Force. Whoa, no, no, no. And then as things started happening, I went with him on Grand River and Tireman, I do believe it was. We went to the Air Force recruiter. I said, you know what? You do it. I'm not going to do it. And they kept talking me into it. I said, no, 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 I'm not doing this. I did everything so he could go. ASVAB, I took everything. And this called it January because I'm not quite sure. And he said to me, if you want to go in, you can be a medic. I'm not going in. I don't want to go in. So I don't even care about being a medic. It don't make no sense to me. I don't care. I'm done with medicine. I'm done with all this crap. Time to go on. And my friend was like, well, you going to go with me? I said, nope. You go on your own, dude. You on your own. Meanwhile, this is maybe March or April. Then some things start happening. And I'm like, okay, I got to get out of Detroit. Because something did happen. And I'm like, okay. So I run back to the Air Force. It's kind of funny. I run back to the Air Force, and he goes, dude, Lefko Horton. I still remember his name vividly. He says, we can get you in, but you'll be a medic. No. No, I'm done. I go to the Navy. I'm not getting on no ships. I go to the Marines. They want me to do demolition. No. So then I run to the Army because I did have my degree, but I had to get out of Detroit fast. And the guy says, you could be a chaplain and you can get letters. And I said, I don't have time for letters. Meanwhile, time is still moving. So it's June. From January to June. I ran back to, I said, dude, I got to go. Things is happening. Something just happened and I got to go. Well, you can be a medic. I'm like, okay.
Can't escape it.
Can't escape it. So I said, you know what? Sign me up. So I became a medic. And he said, just do the best you can for 2 years, then cross-train, go to officers training squadron, and you'll be good. I said, you know what? Boom, good. So I do that. I get all the highest marks. I go in as enlisted. I'm getting ready to go to OTS, but then something hit me about, ooh, this is, I'm doing this surgeries. I'm doing some things. I'm getting kind of good at this, okay? But my testicles are shrunk. Okay, I still got that feel, so I said, well, you know what? Let me do podiatry school. You mean I can do that? That's a good profession. Make a decent living. I go to the California College of Podiatric Medicine. I get in there, and I do believe the angels. I call them Michael, Gabriel, and Raphael, and I think they told God, you know what? God, he's going to podiatry school. Then God said, let him go. He'll be back. Oh, and by the way, when he goes, charge him $32,000, but put him in a place where his GI Bill will cover him. I didn't know this. This is universal. So all of a sudden, I'm in podiatry school. I sit there at the University of San Francisco with my friend Tom. I say, Tom, something ain't right here. He says, what? Look at that Chinese girl, man. He's like, yeah, she's fine, right? I said, no, forget that. Look at her books. Her books are just like our books. And then we're in podiatry school. So I'm like, So I left podiatry school after 1 year. Started working in a mental health hospital. And about year 2, this lady says, have you ever thought about going to med school? I'm done.
And you still have your comic book.
This is still in my wallet. So she talked me into applying. All rejections. I'm like, I told you. She says, no, you have to apply again. I'm done. Just do it one more time. I said, okay. If I do it this one more time, will you just leave me the heck alone? She says, yes. Meanwhile, the universe is saying, Yeah, he getting ready. The Ohio State College of Medicine had this program, and we were part. There was 10 African Americans, maybe 5 females and 5 males, as a pilot study. So I got in there, and the first year was free, and that was the post-bac program. So once you accomplish your goals as getting a 3.0 or better, then you had an automatic guaranteed admission to Ohio State.
Wow.
So now I'm like, I got a letter of acceptance from Ohio State College of Medicine, the Ohio State College of Medicine. And I'm happy. And I go to Donna Cavell. I remember everything. I say, Donna, I got a letter. Yay. And she goes, Anthony. I'm like, oh, now what? Back then, I couldn't get in, had the money. Now I got this letter and I don't have the money. And I'm like, I don't believe this. I did like that. I put my hand, I just left. I went to a bench in Columbus, Ohio. I'm just sitting there like, this is the worst trick ever. Here comes this nice old lady. She says to me, son, what's wrong with you? I'm like, God just played the worst trick ever. She said, what happened? So I gave her a much, much detailed story. And she said, well, what kind of medicine do you want to do? I said, I want to go back into the inner cities, build clinics in inner city medicine. Boy, Reagan and Bush just signed scholarships for that. Like, what? So I applied. So when I finished Ohio State, I had no debt. I won 2 scholarships. It was all free.
Wow.
Everything was timed perfectly. Even while in podiatry school, although I had to, pay, but when I stayed, half a mile from the ocean, this lady turned her garage into an apartment, and it was $300 a month, which was my GI Bill.
Wow.
Yeah,
It was meant to be.
it was meant
It
to
was
be.
meant to be.
And I still fight stuff because, not no more. Not no more. Randy kind of experienced my little of stuff because things just started. At first, it was, I don't get this. If I'm supposed to do these things, then you go, how come I'm not the smartest one? How come I just can't read a book and just there? How come I gotta fail this, fail that, and fail? Because sometimes you gotta go through stuff. And felt like I was just drugged through the mud. Because I didn't listen a lot in med school because people would go, well, you can't know everything. Yes, you can. I want to know everything. It didn't work like that. And by me not listening, trying to know everything, I was messing myself up because everything's not that important. Many people, especially another old person, told me, she says, you're going to be a leader of kids. No. I'm not being a pediatrician, man. I can see kids. I can see anybody from birth to whatever, hospice, but no. I want to do family medicine. You're going to be a leader of kids. Okay, you're not listening to me, ma'am. I could do kids, but I don't want to be a pediatrician. What she stated back then in 1997 is what I'm doing now.
What
I
is
wanna-
this? Can you explain that?
This is life stories. This is a project of mine which teaches kids. I met a young girl who in Lima, she came in for basically abdominal pain and some things of that nature. So you do your regular workup on a 13-year-old girl, and then everything comes back negative. I'm like, okay, something's not right here. And so I said, well, young lady, everything's kind of negative here. I just asked, are you a sexually active person? Well, Dr. Atkins, I don't think that's none of your business. You ain't my daddy. I said, oh, wait a minute. Hold on, young lady. You're talking to the wrong doc. I'm a Detroit doc. Hold on now. You're talking to the wrong one. Because, see, everything's coming up, negative. So I have to do some other tests and some other exams. And she wasn't with her mother or somebody else. Long story short, without going into that detail, she was, I had to treat her for chlamydia and gonorrhea. And she was 13. But I reamed her a good one. But at the same time, she told me some things about the youth about the music, the what they see on TV, the lack of education in the school systems about STIs and pregnancies and violence of things of that nature. So I'm like, okay, boom, let me figure out how to get to the youth in a way that they can understand it so I can teach them, which hence started the Life Stories Project, which is once again takes me to 1997 with a young lady, where the elderly lady says, well, you are going to be the leader of kids. So I guess I am, in the sense of I use a rap hip hop CD produced by me and some people in Lima, Toledo, Chicago, New York, called Life Stories State of Emergency. And as you can see, each character there, these symbols,
I
these spell
know,
out life
noticing.
stories, they all mean something. And in my opinion, it is a state of emergency because things are now getting worse.
And that's what I wanted to ask you about, Doc. Like, normally when people come on the podcast, they're talking about personal challenges, and you said you went through some things, but in talking to you, I know there's greater challenges that you facing with the youth. Like, what are some of those challenges that you see and that you're working with your Life Stories program to try and combat?
The, the community, those are the worst challenges. Because I got off the phone last week talking to the health department in Toledo about the increase in syphilis in the youth, 11 through 17. And they even send me a letter. Okay, Dr. Atkins, we need to do something. I'm like, yes, we do. Let's roll. And I said, here's some wisdom, maybe. You from the health department, me as a community doc, let's get together and go, we got to talk to the kids. Oh, well, it's too political. We can't do what? You just sent me this letter saying we need to get to the youth. How do you expect me to do that? I mean, go sample every kid? No, we got to get out there to where they are. Then I called on Thursday of last week. I talked to Monroe County, and they was talking about the increase in throat gonorrhea in the youth. And once again, I said, so are you teaching this in the schools? No. Why? Well, it's all political. So instead of hitting these kids where they are, you're just gonna let them continue to reinfect themselves. Or I don't get this. So when you talk about barriers, that's a barrier because I'm a community doc. I see the stuff, but I want to do something about it. But you all, well, it's too political. Oh, we can't talk. Meanwhile, as you see here, I got charts of the increase in, as you can see, syphilis
Wow.
in the youth.
78%.
And then you got other factors of throat gonorrhea. We got pie charts. And so, and then like Randy said, there's a lot of things that I never had in the past. I would just talk off the cuff based upon what my experience, but now I got numbers to back me up. And this is the purpose of Life Stories here. I talk to the youth, and each of these symbols means something for the kids. I have a rap hip hop CD, and these kids respond so well to it, and they open up to me. And we emphasize the structures right here, these two characters here. All of these characters mean a lot. The prison towers, the guns, educate, spread your wings. But right here, this little drip, which is over this 13-year-old girl with one baby and pregnant again, we talk about this a lot. And we talk about the numerous, we talk to the young girls about, okay, you're 19. You do not need 4 different baby daddies. Or, dude, you're 17. You done fathered 3 kids. You can't take care of none of them. So what are you doing with yourself? So my barriers are sometimes the community in which I live. I mean, as a physician, when I do boxing tournaments, I carry a sign. It's somewhere around here, but I carry a sign in the ring. What will we do as a community to stop teen pregnancies, teen violence, and teen STDs?
What do you think that challenge is in the youth? Like, what is it that you feel they're not understanding? I mean, I know, oh, you can get a STI, but what do you feel the disconnect is?
Nobody's talking to them. And they feel like, well, Doc, can I just get a shot? Well, yeah. Is it over? Well, maybe. But it's a lack of communication. Because one day I went into the mall, Franklin Park Mall, just to talk to the youth, buy them pizza, and we just talk random. I say, dude, what do you think the problems are? Why do you all think you all do the way? Doc, man, nobody care about us, man. And one guy was like, when your mom only 4 years older than you, I knew what he meant.
Right.
Right. Right.
Who's raising who here? You know, they talk about the lack of the male figure. It's just so many things that the youth tell me. I mean, I don't betray them. I don't talk about them. I don't judge them. But I do try to teach them. But then when the community says, hey, Dr. Atkins, we're going to take you fishing. Oh, let's go fishing. But we will not give you a hook. We not give you a line. We not even give, not even a net. Well, how am I going to fish if you don't? So life stories is my own little way to get to the youth. And I will use TikTok and some other means to teach and educate. And we'll start from the L to the Z, and we'll talk about different parts of different rap songs like Street Justice. We had one line in there where we talk about every summer a mother makes funeral arrangements. It's a lot of things in there that we don't talk about. We just talk, take excerpts away.
Yeah, and listening to the CD, it's like you said, 97 when you did that. 97.
That CD was completed in 2006.
Oh, 2006.
And which is another thing, like Randy tell you. I tried my best not to get involved with these kids. Why? Because I wasn't getting any help from people. Randy would tell you, I would throw this CD in the trash. It comes up. I drop it from the sky. Here's a parachute. I burn it. Then here's somebody spraying water on it. It won't go away.
Like the Air Force.
And it's really ahead of its time too. Just the messages that's on there. A lot of the songs, like listening to it in 2024. Like, when did you make this? Last year? You like, no, like years ago. Like, everything is still relevant then as it is now.
It's like Marvin Gaye. What's going on?
What's going on? So you mentioned the lady, the young girl that said, "You're not my daddy." Are you finding a lot of that attitude amongst the kids you're talking
because
to?
it's the approach. When I talk to the youth, I talk to them straight. As a matter of fact, that young lady, when I started opening up my clinic in Lima, she brought one of her girlfriends in to see me. And she said, Dr. Atkins, please talk to her. I said, well, why? Dr. Atkins, I don't really need to talk to you because I'm a virgin. Well, good. Okay, good for you. And her girlfriend's like, Dr. Atkins, oh, I gotta be careful. What can I say on here?
Say whatever you want to say.
Whatever you want.
Okay, I mean, she was like, Dr. Atkins, she thinks because nobody penetrates her vagina, she's a virgin. But she's giving my cousin oral pleasure and letting somebody else do it to her anally, and she doesn't think she can get an STD. Hence life stories, hence the STI, hence all of what all this means. Everything has significant meaning.
I'm sorry. It's educating them. It's trying
Yes.
to. Now, do you find that the adult supervisor, their mother or whoever, do they get involved with you?
No, because here's the problem. Dr. Atkins, yes. And sometimes my mom and my aunts tell me that if I do things right, I got a gold mine between my legs. What does that mean? What? Or, no, Doc, man, I'll be like Uncle Willie, man. I ain't taking care of these kids. My uncle got like 15 kids he don't take care of. So when I talk to them individually, it's good. But then they go back to that environment. And that's some of the problems I deal with. And once again, that's where this comes in. And also down the road, Randy Holloway's going to come in as we produce something that's going to go global. I promise you it's going to go global. But the kids are the key to this. And I had this is already copywritten. We have another situation coming out that's trademarked. It's called Fitty Bitty City by me. FTY, BTY, CTY is trademarked. And it's for the youth, by the youth, to change the youth. And I'm working on that right now. And some of my educational talks that's going to start this weekend with my daughter, we're going to start with this, and we're going to incorporate some things that the kids go through. And since I can just give you a little bit of an example. And when I do the Life Stories project, you will always get my intention. And I'm not going to read it right now, but that's the intention of Life Stories. And then we'll go, for example, Life Stories Presents. We'll start it off like that. And I think because of the universe, we'll call it an A squared God plus one production. The only thing I forgot to put down was in association with Randy Holloway Entertainment. So I get that going right behind here. And then we'll go, this is a bitty bitty
I like that.
city joint.
City.
Yes, for the youth, by the youth, to change the youth.
I like that.
And the kids also got to know this is a judgment-free zone.
Yeah, and how important is that? Because again, I know we've talked some, but being in, and I work in the schools too, right? And I have the privilege of really being in that mix with the youth and hearing the type of things they talk about and them being able to open up and talk back to me. But how important to you is it to have that judgment-free zone for them to be able to
The
open
way
up?
they open straight up, they tell you everything, and that's the fun part about it. Because they don't feel that they can trust people. They just go, man, all you gonna do, doc, is do this, smack me on the hand, and make fun of me. So no, we don't make fun of you here, and that's why the key is this age group. We got
That's your target.
After 18, if you can go to the army and fight a war and you're 18, I'm kind of done. But we got to get you here. And then we go with the young ladies. And we got to be straight up. And that's what I tell them. And with the guys, it works both ways. Zippers got to stay up. And that's the last part of the Z. We got to get the guys out their comfort zone. That's why the Z zippers angle up. But you get the pressure from your boys. Man, you need to not boots with this girl, dog. Come on, man. Why? Be like you, have 5 kids and can't take care of them? No. So we try to hit them young and change their thinking process. And then the last part of it, is life a game? Or, young fellas, is it chess versus checkers? You gotta make some short-term decisions. I get it. But you also gotta make some long-term decisions. Sometimes none of you all have. Hey, we teaching it. We gotta go to basics.
That's a nice movie.
And someday you gotta take that risk. And someday you gotta tell your boys, man, I ain't about that no more. I gotta do something with my life. And you gotta have a strategy. And then that's what we try to teach 11 through 17.
So, are you able to get involved with the schools or with the youth organizations?
Yes, we're working on that now. But just in case they say to me, "Oh, Dr. Atkins, you're just too strong." Yeah, so is the needle I'm using to treat the kids. Okay, or when I do a speculum exam, it's just tons of bacteria downstairs on an 11-year-old. Come on, no, I got to be just as strong as the STIs are strong. Or I have to be just as strong as these kids with 38s and 9mm or extended clip weapons. I gotta be just as strong. And most of what they call, even some of the YNs that are out there, they say, "Doc, you know what? I don't even want none of those diseases." I get it. But you gotta strap up. You gotta be careful about it. That's why Life Stories, once again, is in a condom package. Everything on this is tons and tons and tons of meaning. And it's going to come out in a nice, methodical way. Because everybody that I didn't have in the past is coming to me right now. Because in the past, when I did present to the Toledo School Board, it was like, okay, Dr. Atkins, so we do a great, big, beautiful show in August at the Stranahan Theater. Yay, the kids are pumped up. Now it's mid-September and it's faded away. How do you keep it going? Oh, then somebody got sick. A friend of mine said, "Please see this young lady." "What do you do, young lady?" "I write curriculum." What? So you can take my project, Life Stories, and put it into a school curriculum? Oh, really? There's your school curriculum.
Beautiful.
With the incorporation of the music. Oh, well, Dr. Atkins, sometimes when you go talk to people, you need statistics. Well, you just saw me with statistics instead of things that I just used to have in my brain.
Yeah.
Now there's proof of this.
So that's where you're going with it now, just in the schools.
In the schools.
You know,
And
create
whatever
this
don't
program.
go into the schools, Randy and I are going to have a movie. It's going to happen. It's just a matter of time. And I think Randy dropped into my lap. This young lady dropped into my lap. The website people dropped into my lap. Everything that I needed is coming because of
Things don't happen by accident.
if
There's a reason.
If there was accidents for me, I had too many of them. If there was coincidences for me, I had too many of them. That's why I don't believe in coincidences, because there's a ton of stuff that we just missed. I didn't even tell you. I probably told you that much of it. You don't know half the stuff.
Right.
What type of team do you have working with you? You know, now I'm not talking about the kids, but like you mentioned your daughter or something.
Well, we're just getting that together now because I just got this in order.
Okay.
So
But
now
do
this
you have a
allows me
team,
to.
or are you doing this solo
We're
right now
solo
by yourself? Are you the only one going out there talking to these kids, or
for now.
For now.
For now. But I got another plan coming up mid-summer. Then I got some other things coming down the pike, and it's gonna.
Well, like the 13-year-old girl, I know we keep going back to her that brought her cousin there or brought her girlfriend there to you when she didn't want to listen to you the first time.
Yeah.
She's the type of girl you want at your side to help.
Oh yeah, and I think that's why the Fitty Bitty City came out. I mean, Doc, I'm 68 years old. I can only do so much, but the kids are. That's why it's like for the youth, by the youth, to change the youth.
Awesome.
That's why I had it already copywritten and trademarked.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh.
And the girl who I met, she's just. She said, "Doc, you need this trademark." I said, "Girl, I can barely turn on the computer." She said, "You got your credit card?" I said, "Yeah, let's get it done in 30 minutes." Yeah. That's done.
I feel your pain.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
the same way.
So it's done.
I think it's great. I think what you're doing is fantastic, and I really want to thank you for joining us today and letting people know that there are programs out there to help our youth.
Oh yeah. So yes. Yeah.
Yeah, and again, thank you. I know you came a long way to be a part of the show, and
It's worth it, man.
Yeah, like this is a challenge. Again, we always talk about personal challenges on this show, but this is a challenge that affects everybody. So this is something where I think anybody who's watching could really be inspired to do something to try and make that change, because it is something that's getting out of control.
It is out of control. Yeah, I'm talking 11 through 17. Syphilis, throat gonorrhea. Come on now.
Yeah,
And
that's
then we're gonna get
crazy.
some of our t-shirts out, and we got some other t-shirts coming out. We got a lot of stuff.
I think it's great, and I look forward to following up and seeing the future success, because I feel that with you behind it, it's going to be successful.
The universe. Let's call it the universe. 'Cause I could not do none of this. I mean, every time I needed something, it happened. When I didn't need it, it didn't happen. When I went to the podiatry school, I paid for it. When it's time for med school, it was free. Everything happened for that reason. And then even when I got into med school, after being a medic in the Air Force, hey, we're gonna cut this little piece of pig feet straight line. I'm like, dude, I'm cutting into bodies already. But you don't say that. You just go, okay, good job, Atkins. We had to sew macaroni.
Wow, that's pretty good.
Yeah, we had to sew macaroni together. And when you sew it together, and run the Kool-Aid through it, it better not drip. In case you have to sew an artery or something.
Yeah.
I like that
Wow.
PMA, that positive mental attitude.
You got to keep it, man.
Yep.
If you don't have it, nobody will.
Thank you.
And, all right, thanks for having me.
Oh, thanks for being here.
Thanks for joining us.
If you'd like to be a guest on Talking Positive with Randy and Alan, please call us at 313-454-1104 or email us at talkingpositivepod@gmail.com. I want to wish everyone a very positive day.
See you next time.